Hey everybody, welcome to episode 64. I believe it's 64. uh, Today I'm going to go over some more Kiss. Specifically, I'm going to talk about, Kiss meets Phantom of the Park. I've been kind of waiting a little bit. I wanted to watch it again. I watched it twice now. I watched it this last weekend with my son. But he fell asleep within the first 10 minutes of the movie, by the way. But I watched it through again, and I just watched it online. I don't have the videotape I used to have anymore, and I don't have it, on DVD, obviously. I remember buying the videotape, believe it or not. This would have been like 89, 90. Like I said, back when Meyer, a lot of places had a pretty decent record, record tape, whatever, audio visual department. Like I said, Myers had this whole got a boxed in, like you had to walk through like a security little gate, so you wouldn't take anything out of there, and go through this little thing. It's long gone. I think that kind of went out like in the early 90s. But I remember going in there one time, like late at night, screwing around with my buddies, and we're out causing mischief, and we, roll up on Meyer because it's 24 hours. So what are you going to do? Just go hang out at Meyer's in the middle of the night. So we went in there, and they had Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park on the video cassette, the one I'm featuring in the thumbnail. And I was like, oh, it was like $3.97. And I was like, well, I'm buying that. I bought that, and my friends were giving me crap about it. Like, what am I buying that stupid movie for? I'm like, I like Kiss. I'm sorry. I want to see this. I haven't seen this literally since it aired on television back in 1978, which it was November. I think it was November 10th or November 18th. I can't remember the exact date. But it was in November that it aired. I said I was 5 at the time. Now I'm, whatever, 90. I'm 16 years old. And so I think it was 16. And, which is exactly 5, whatever, 11 years later. So anyways, I bought the video cassette, and I remember going home, throwing it in the VCR and watching it, and I was like, wow, this is exactly what I remember, yet at the same time it wasn't as what I remember. At the same time I loved it, at the same time I hated it. It was just a whole, this is one of those movies that goes down in infamy, like, trying to think of something that's on par with something that I love and hate all at the same time. There's a lot of B movies, obviously, a lot of schlocky B movies, science fiction, Barbarian, Queen, I'm trying to think of just some bad, Star Crash is another one. Incidentally, we also, my buddies later on, when we were doing our Panic videos, which is basically just riff tracks, we panicked Phantom of the Park. I asked my buddy last night, I said, do you still have that? And he says, yeah, I think we converted it over to digital file from the videotapes because the videotapes are deteriorating. And if I was to keep that video, I'm sure that would have deteriorated because I watched it quite a few times. And I believe that was the video. I should ask my buddy, because I think that was the video that I brought over that we used the Panic, the thing. He may still have it. I know he got rid of a lot of his VHSs, but he may still have it, which would be weird. Yeah, so, let's sort of rewind back to 1978. Like I said, I saw that magazine, the official movie magazine, at Chatham grocery store, and I was like, oh man, they're going to be in a movie? They're going to be on TV? Like I said, there was no YouTube back then. There was no, they didn't put, you couldn't see concert footage. There was no VCRs back then. There may have been, but we didn't have any. They're for rich people. And, the only way to see them moving, actually, not just still photographs and magazines, was to watch Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park, And until you've gone to a concert, the only way to see them playing live on stage was this movie. And so when it, like I said, I was all geared up to watch it. This is like, I want to say, it was also, I'm assuming it aired afterwards, because I know Battlestar Galactica started in the fall of 1978, which that was a big deal. There was a lot of big deals back then. And yeah, I wanted to watch this Kiss movie, and I remember we did watch it. And the thing that, I was telling my buddy about this, because we were talking about it in retrospect of us, panicking in the movie. I said, really, at the end of the day, despite what it was a made-for-TV movie. I mean, it wasn't for theatrical release. And that being said, it was of its time. So you got to think of what was out at the time. I mean, like I said, Battlestar Galactica, which they put money into Battlestar, but that was, just airing that fall as well. So you were looking at like the Wonder Woman TV show. I don't even know if the Hulk TV show started yet. The reason I mentioned the Wonder Woman video is because there was a scene, one of the Wonder Woman episodes, that I swear just reminded me, or I keep getting that scene mixed up with the scenes with Sam, the girl's boyfriend in this Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park, where he's working on the androids. I swear that was a scene, or something to that effect was a scene in one of the Wonder Woman episodes. I haven't seen the Wonder Woman episodes in a very long time. Not very long time. Actually, I take that back. I did buy them when they came on DVDs back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, I think. They released them season 1 and season 2. The Hardy Boys, even if you go back and look at like the stuff that was on like Saturday morning with the Croft superstars, like like Bigfoot and Wild Boy, that was very much of that time. So everything kind of had that feel to it. There were a lot of the same actors, character actors, like the bad guy in the, he's a character actor of that time. I think it was, obviously a lot of those people came from old Hollywood, like the old Westerns. They kind of bled over into the 70s, but, much did a lot of people in, Wonder Woman and Dukes of Hazzard and all that stuff. So it was of its time. I mean, for the most part, and you really got, sure, the movie was cheesy, but you didn't know it. I mean, my parents probably did. My dad was probably watching this just going, oh, my goodness. But, as a kid, or even my sister, who was a teenager at the time, she thought it was she didn't like Kiss to begin with. So, it was anything Kiss related was probably going to turn her off. So, but I was just like, as a 5-year-old kid, just kind of watching it, like, seeing Gene Simmons breathe the fire. I don't think he did the blood splitting in that. Because like I said, that was, or Kindergarten was that also that fall too. And I remember having these long, intellectual extrapolations with my fellow kindergartner about the techniques in which Gene Simmons used to spit blood. I remember one kid's theory was he conked his nose. He turns around and conks his nose, and then he gets a nosebleed and he just sucks it up like snot and just spits it out. That is a kindergartner answer. He wins first prize for the best kindergartner logic right there, which actually kind of makes sense. But I remember somebody telling me about blood capsules, and I said, I think he has like a capsule. The guy was like, oh no, he takes like a bag, like a sandwich bag, and fills it with fake blood and sticks it in his mouth. I'm like, I can't. I think he has like chalice that he drinks the fake blood real quick. That's why he's got that look on his face when he's doing the bass solo before God of Thunder. And, then he spits the stuff out. But, to a kindergartner at the time, it's just like, this dude, he looks like a demon, and he spits blood, and he breathes fire, and the guitar player, his guitar it catches on fire and blows up. These are all, like, the only way to know these things is to see them. So until that point, it's just hearsay amongst a bunch of kindergartners, so you were just like, it sounded badass, like, oh, I gotta see that, that's so awesome. But you didn't know if it was true or not. It's kind of like the the Navy training videos that everybody talked about back then. Were they real? Or were they not real? So, anyways, the movie hits, right? And sure enough, he doesn't do the fake spit blood thing, but he does do the breathe fire. You see that, and then they do the robot version of Gene breathes the fire, which is special effects, bad special effects, but it was the time. And then I don't know I think Gene's Ace's guitar did catch on fire in the live footage. Now I'm assuming one of 3 things happened, and again I'm calling on my Kiss fans here to tell me what happened. Either A, It's just concert footage from specifically that, where they recorded Kiss Alive 2, because that would have made sense at the time, because they had the Love Gun costumes on. So I'm assuming it was the Love Gun tour, and they just used footage here and there, because, you keep seeing different people in the crowd, and, it's at night, so you can't see that roller coaster behind them if it's there or not. So either A, they used footage, which also makes sense. B, they just shot like mock-up footage, or B, they just had it could even have been a mock concert that they did, there at that carnival, with all the fans and stuff, as all extras, and it was specifically shot for the movie. I mean, they had the risers, the thing comes up with the two cats, the whole 9 yards. So I don't know. I'm assuming it's a combination of all of that. But again, I mean, that you saw a good solid chunk of live Kiss, a live show, and like I said, it just blew my freaking mind. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. I didn't care that the movie was terrible. I didn't really pay attention. It was kind of like Jaws, you know what I mean? I went and saw Jaws with my parents when it came out in the theater. I was really young. And I remember I fell asleep, obviously, because nothing was happening in the beginning of the movie. After the girl gets eaten, nothing happens but a bunch of adults talking. So what did I do? I fell asleep. And my dad woke me up, because I said, Dad, wake me up when the shark shows up. So when towards the end of the movie, when they go, to go hunt the shark down, he gives me the nod, and I wake up. He's like, the shark's on. I'm like, the shark! I mean, it was the same thing with this. I could have fallen asleep like my son did, but never woke up, because I didn't wake him back. I just let him. I knew he wasn't going to be interested. I let him sleep. But I could have just fallen asleep for all the humans talking about stuff, right? And then as soon as Kiss showed up, 8 Kisses on, and there I was. So I'm going to get into some. I didn't really grab a lot off the line. I have to have some kind of visuals, otherwise you're just going to see me talking for an hour, which maybe it might not go an hour. We'll see. When I get going, I get wound up and then I start losing it. So yeah, again, there's that magazine. I haven't really looked for images from. I think I've seen some of the images from that magazine, but I've looked at magazines. Really, those are a lot of money now on secondary market. But and I don't really necessarily want to have to own it, but I'd like to see it. I'd like to see the posters and the magazine pictures and stuff in there. I was just hoping there'd be a PDF on like archives.com or something, or somebody would have scanned it at some point. Because magazines are pretty easy to scan in. But yeah, like I said, that magazine was at Chatham grocery store. And I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I might have. I'm not gonna. This is just me speculating, but this would happen a lot too, where I'd go with my mom, she wouldn't buy it. This happened with Star Wars figures. Go with my mom, she wouldn't buy it, and then of course my dad comes home and I just start screaming and yelling, I want the magazine, my mom didn't buy it. And then my dad sometimes like, all right, let's go get it. That did happen with the action Star Wars figure. I think I talked about that in the Star Wars video about the action figures, but I don't know if that happened with this. I remember, like I said, I know my grandma, my mom's mom, and her boyfriend at the time, he took me up to, they took us up there to go buy some groceries or buy something at some time with my grandma, and I remember, I said this was either the Kiss magazine. I know they did this with something else. I wanted a coloring. They said I could get a coloring book, and I think I tried to tell them that one of the magazines was a coloring book, and my grandma didn't really pay attention too much. Oh, I just put it in a cart. I don't know if that was the case with this. Like I said, I came up with a lot of. I was pretty much a con artist as a very young kid, and learned how to somehow work my magic to get everything out of the adults. But anyways, I don't know if I remember seeing him. Like I said, I remember the Brad kid from kindergarten when he was across the street getting babysitted. I remember he came upstairs from the basement with a Kiss magazine in his hand, and it may just have been a Kiss poster book. I don't think it was this book exactly. But who knows? It's It's a long time ago. I don't have it now, so I guess it's moot at this point. But yeah. So it was coming, right? Obviously. And then let's switch to the. So I like this. That's about probably the condition my video's in, if I could find it. So that was the videotape there. I'm just curious when this was released. 1988. That sounds about right. I probably got it in 1990. Like I said, it was on sale. It wasn't even on sale. It was just normal price. Just at Meyer audio visual section for it was like $3.97. It was less than $5. Usually a lot of this stuff was $3.97. Like they had a lot of tapes for $3.97. I remember getting the Fix with one thing leads to another. I remember getting that for $3.97. But anyways, they had this specific version of it, so I got it, and like I said, I watched it a lot. And it had all the hits. I mean, it had Shout It Out Loud, it had Rock and Roll All Night. I think they played God of Thunder. I think did they play I Want Your Love in it? I Want Your Love. I can't remember. I'm just thinking of the concert. The album, but maybe they did. I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, the whole scene with when they have the robot versions of them, which is I didn't mind that. I mean, that was kind of cool as a kid. But watching him as an adult in that fight sequence, it's just like woo. Let's go back to watching the concert video because that part's something else. And all those crazy monsters and stuff that they had, just the people in the masks, like those white. I think Gene's fighting one of them there, like these white, silver space-suited white space monkeys or space werewolves or something, like green or blue or purple werewolves. I can't remember, but obviously, they didn't have a huge budget, which I don't know why they didn't have a huge budget. You think they would have sank more money into this, but maybe that, who knows what was going on behind the closed doors. But they're like, hey, just grab a bunch of costumes, grab a bunch of masks. We'll do something here. But yeah, like I said, it was a pretty good. I'll probably use that one. That's probably the one I'm saying this because I haven't made you're already seeing the thumbnail I haven't made yet. I'll probably use this as the in the thumbnail. Back cover again, like I said. So one of the scenes that really stuck in my mind for the longest time until I had seen it again was that scene where they're at the pool. I mean, you can get the action figures of those. There's 8-inch Mego style dolls of those from that figure company of these too. I'm not really interested in that, but that would be kind of cool. But they don't have you'd need the tall. I just love that they're on those like really high-rise like beach or pool chairs. It's just like obviously they're going for the whole majestic thing. They're larger than life. That's why their boots are so big. They lift them up to make them bigger than everybody. And then they put them in these like druid robes, and I always thought that was cool as a kid. I was always like, oh, they look like druids, or I don't know if I knew what a druid was back then, but they look like that kind of thing. But that's one of those scenes that really sticks in your head, and as a lot of people did too of that movie, was that pool scene. There's a picture, pretty cool picture of Ace there. Looking like probably what he was really thinking about doing the whole movie. Like, oh, how the hell did I get into this shit? I think this is just my speculation, but I'm assuming Gene really wanted to push for this movie because, obviously for it's good business, although maybe it wasn't good business. It kind of backfired on him. But at the same time, I think Paul seemed like he was into it. Sometimes seemed like he wasn't into it. It looked like, but clearly Ace and Peter could care less. I mean, Peter didn't even show up to, finish doing his voiceover, so they used I'm going to say the guy who does Max Sterling's voice from Robotech, but you probably have, unless you know what Robotech is, you don't know what I'm talking about. He also does that voice actor also did the Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Just go to Jared, that guy. He's that voice actor. I still hear him once in a while today. He's still getting work. But he's got it getting up there himself, too. But he did the Peter Criss's voice, the voiceover. I think everybody else was the same. I mean, you can't mistake, Ace's very, very New York accent. Well, you all lose your heads of you, Paul. Paul. um, but I was trying to look for more of these promo shots. I mean, this is the type of stuff you'd get on like 8x10 glossies, or mats, and then you'd take these to conventions or where signings and stuff, and you'd get them to sign these. You see a lot of these black and white promo shots used for autographs and stuff. I like those. I think those are cool. I like to see more of those. I haven't seen a lot of those. I know if you go to the conventions, I think some of the wrestlers and some of the old school people still use these. Usually they use glossies because they're charging like $60 for a signature. So they probably up the quality a little bit. But I like these little black and white. Like I said, it says. Oh, sorry, it's the movie, but they're usually like 8x10 glossies. I remember this one place, comic book shop down in Middle Belt, like in Livonia. They used to have like a whole stacks and binders and binders of all these glossies and all these type of prints that you could buy, individually and stuff. Some of them signed and they want money for. Some of them were just ones that they obtained somehow. But I really thought those were cool. And of course, that's the scene. That's down in Devereaux, which is the main bad guy here, down in his laboratory. Like I said, it's total set from like Wonder Woman or fill in the blank, science fiction show-ish thing from back in the 70s. You got to have the secret lair of the mad scientist, and it's funny they got these bodies that are laying on there. It's like nobody questions. Like, what are those? Don't look under there. Those are the people that he's abducted that he's turned into robots. And I don't know if that's supposed to be the real Kiss. Yeah, I think that's real, because he puts like this energy bar thing around him when they're trying to get their talismans. I think I got a picture of the talismans too. There they are. I thought the cool thing about the talisman thing, I thought that was neat. I know it's dumb now when you think about it, but when I was a kid, that was really cool. It's like, oh, they have talismans. What's a talisman? I remember nobody in my family. I think my sister may have knew. My dad and my mom were clueless, but I think my sister's like, oh, they like to gives them their powers. They're like little like symbols, and I'm like, huh? Yeah, it's like a talisman. It's like a little thing that's like gives them their power, and it's got their power in it. I'm like, huh? Bring on Kiss again. But I did think it was cool, though, just because I didn't know what it was. And then I kind of put two and two together as when they're trying to, get them back so they could, get their powers back. And it's like, oh, it gives them their powers. That's what my sister probably just said, but, that's how I rolled as a kid. It's a picture of them in the dungeon that they had. Like, it was what was it called? The Chamber of Thrills. I remember there's like these three hooligans, which don't really seem much like hooligans. I remember the one guy, I remember seeing him in TV shows. I think he was the pilot in the Twilight Zone movie. But the girl's kind of cute, in like a weird that kind of girl kind of way. But anyways, I'll get to cute girls in this movie. Holy shit. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, they had this. They sent them. The mad scientist Devereaux gives them these free passes to go to the Chamber of Thrills. That's where he's abducting people. Is through like these little robots that he has inside this Chamber of Thrills. Remember, he's the Phantom of the Park. It takes place in a carnival, which also, like I said, a lot of times when I used to think of carnivals, like I remember I was talking about the carnival, the little pop cans. Carnivals to me back in the late 70s were like magic. It's, like my son just felt that kind of way when we were going to carnivals when he was younger. I mean, he still likes to go, and it was just like a lot of like stuff in my head that I was thinking I was seeing at carnivals. Some of the stuff that was like I dream about carnivals, like, oh yeah, the giant tower. It's like, that wasn't a giant tower. That was from this movie. I was just getting my signals crossed. Yeah, so I don't remember Kiss actually being in the Chamber of Thrills or Chamber of Horrors or whatever they called it. The Menagerie, I can't remember. It's obviously it's just a promo, or maybe it's like a deleted scene, but I thought that was pretty cool. Speaking of, I should have grabbed a picture of her. Duh. The main girl in the movie. Oh my gosh, she's beautiful. Jeez, I was looking at what else has she been in. She's It was on like the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, or the Hardy Boys with Parker Stevens and Sean Cassidy. That's what my sister was all about back in. My sister was all like, she wanted to watch Sean Cassidy and Parker Stevens all the time. But that girl was on that show, and she's been in a couple other things. But she's kind of, I don't think she's stuck with acting that much. I mean, kind of looked up her IMDb. Not a lot she's been in, but man, she was good looking. And then, so she was like the main character. Her boyfriend Sam's the guy who works for Devereaux, and he's turned him into into one of his cyborgs and stuff. So I think I got a couple more pictures left. That's a small one. Oh, that's when they're all trying to use, like their telekinesis to get the talismans back, which is on like a table over here, and they're trying to bring it back to them. And there's they're not showing it, but there's like this energy like gate, that kind of cage that's got them caged in over there. Nice, easy, simple way to do that. It's pretty cool. As far as the old technology back then. I gotta use this at some point somewhere. Maybe I just love this. That creeped me out as a kid. Like literally, I had like nightmares about Paul's face in that. I remember when I got the Kiss doll, I think I used to get scared of the face because of the eyebrow, and just he had that like crazy eyes, Paul Stanley crazy eyes with those crazy look on his face. I know he's doing some kind of crazy kung fu over there, some Wing Chun. He's Paul Stanley Chung or Paul Stanley Fu over here, but I just love that picture. Sorry, it just makes me giggle every time I see it. But pretty much those are all the pictures that I kind of grabbed from it that I could find. I mean, there's a lot more. I just didn't do it. I didn't do a huge search. I wasn't going to just fill it up with millions of pictures to go through. But I'm kind of get the feel of what the movie is if you've never seen it. If you've never seen it, I suggest it, and I also suggest avoiding it all at the same time. If you really like Kiss and you've never seen it, I'm assuming you're not my age or older, because you probably, if you're my age older and you're a Kiss fan, you had to have seen this movie at some point. But if you're a Kiss fan and you've never seen this movie, don't watch it. It might hurt, damage your might take a few hit points off your Kiss hit points there. But like I said, if you know what it is, you know what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they did shit like that back then, I'm surprised they don't. I mean, obviously, music acts and stuff have showed up in movies all the time. TV shows and make TV show appearances and stuff. That always happens. It's cool. Sometimes some are better than others. It is what it is. I guess if you sat around and hated on everything, what left is there to like? So, take it in stride. Watch it with a grain of salt. It's tongue in cheek. It's cheesy. It's schlocky. It's I find it just to be fun. It's stupid fun, and I like stupid fun. I'd rather have stupid fun than really serious stuff that's not that much fun. Stupid fun's better, and that's I kind of chalk that up with the band. The band is stupid fun. I was watching that Rush Beyond the Lighted Stage, and Geddy Lee makes a comment in there which I totally agree with. When he was talking about when they toured, when Kiss took them on tour when they during the Fly By Night and album, when they first started out to kind of learn their chops, and he said, I really like the guys. They were great to us. He says, they really liked to party. Because it was, I really liked watching what was happening in their hotels, because our hotel, nothing was happening. And he said, say what you want about their music, and say what you want about, what they do. He says, but at the end of the day, these are some really hard-working dudes that really were, wanted to master their craft of theater, this whole presentation, this whole spectacle. They didn't just, it wasn't just all about the music, because the music's just kind of just straight up rock and roll, kind of basic rock and roll. I was looking up Mr. Speed, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll learn that on guitar. And I was just like, oh, it's just all power chords pretty much, with a couple of fills and stuff. It's just like, it says it's beginner 2 level, on Songster. I'm like going, I looked at a lot. I mean, a lot of their stuff's basic, I mean, sure, there's bouts of genius here and there I've seen in the songs, but like I like the cry, I love that part. But I kind of went over that when I talked about my Rock and Roll Over album, which again, in this movie they show the Rock and Roll Over thing spin in the beginning, and it's just like, this all makes sense why this specific time period of this band that I hyper focused on. And here's the thing, I was a very young kid at the time, and this kind of went for everything. Star Wars comes out in '77. I see it in the theater. Toys don't come out till '78. I'm balls deep in Star Wars. Maybe it's a weird. Anyways, I'm into the Star Wars figures 100%. '78. This stuff comes out. I'm all into Kiss 1978, right? Through kindergarten. Buck Rogers or Battlestar Galactica comes out as well. You're get hit with three big things, big '70s things at the same time, and by the end of '79, like I said, after I've seen the concert, after I've kind of just had my Kiss experience, by 1980 I didn't care about them anymore. I moved on to something else. Maybe it was me. Maybe I was, obviously had ADD as a kid. But same thing with Star Wars. I didn't care about after like that second series of action figures in '79 with like Greedo and all those guys. I had those guys, but after that, until Empire came out, which again I tell you about Empire, I didn't really get into that. I could care less about Star Wars. I mean, it was in my head. I loved Star Wars, but that wasn't my focus. I was on the Dukes of Hazzard or whatever, fill in the blank, Buck Rogers. Same thing with Kiss. I really loved Kiss a lot in like late '78 and '79, and then with, let's just say, a year, and then I'm done. I literally did not think about Kiss until they made talk about like when Eric Carr took over for Peter Criss. That was like in the news and some of the magazines, and I remember kind of paying attention to that briefly. Then I forgot about it again. I saw like Kiss Unmasked, at the neighbor's house, the crazy high-ons down the street. I saw Kiss Unmasked there. I'd still see this stuff periodically here and there, but by the time they took their makeup off, I didn't care about Kiss anymore. I could have cared less of Kiss Unmasked, or sorry, Kiss when they had like Lick It Up and all those albums in the '80s and stuff where they didn't have their makeup on. I didn't care. I didn't actually think about Kiss until literally I was like 1989, 1990. I saw that videotape at Myers, and I was like, oh yeah, Kiss. I really liked them back then for like a year. And so, I kind of got back into them, And then in the 90s, I remember getting some CDs and stuff and kind of getting back in just that time period. But I still didn't care about their, non-makeup version, because to me that was, all of it right there. The music was secondary. It was all the spectacle. Yeah. What else did I want to say about that? Okay, so one thing I kind of noticed. Oh, before I get going here, I did order Destroyer. I was going to get the reissue, but $37.99 for the reissue, even though it has 2 discs, and I don't care that it has 2 discs. It's like I just want an original copy of it, an older copy of it. So I went on Discogs and I found, hopefully it's decent. I ordered it. It was like after shipping and tax, it was like $12 for Destroyer. So that's coming. So I'll definitely do a review on. I'm going to do a review on all the Kiss stuff whenever I can get my hands on it. But I'll do that one, and then of course the only really album I really want after that's Love Gun, and I said maybe the rest of the solo albums. I don't really care about the rest of them. The Gene Simmons one I remember had on CD. I don't really care much about the rest of the solo albums, but it's nice to have the set. It's kind of like the Dolls. It's just like I'd just rather have just Gene and Ace, but I'd like the set. So it's it's kind of to keep them all together. So same thing with those solo albums. I just like to have the set. Although I did notice that the only way to get them, you can get them cheap, the reissues, but they're the picture discs. The only normal copy they had was the Ace Frehley one, which I have. but they don't have those versions on the other three guys. They've got the picture discs, which are like the same price as the other ones, but you can buy a set of the prison. It's like $80, and you can buy all 4 picture discs, which is $20 a disc. But then I got to buy another Ace Frehley to get them at that price. But then I don't have the Ace Frehley picture. I don't know. I'd rather just find they got the Ace Frehley one new. I'd rather just find the old ones on vintage copies. Probably Discogs or record stores or record shows. I'm starting to get kind of like that. I don't know. I was going through my records and stuff, and I'm like, well, I like the reissues. It's cool that they're the 180 grams and stuff like that, but they're really expensive. This is kind of why I kind of done with action figures, is because the action figures are really freaking expensive. One, Marvel Legends is $25, if not $35, or you got to spend $45 because it came with another figure you don't want. That's too much money. Same thing with the records. It's like $25 is okay, but still pricey. But when you want like $32 to $40, $50 for a record, no, thank you. So I'm just going to go after the old stuff. I'll just buy the old stuff. Like I said, right around $10, $12, maybe $15 if it was hard to find one. I might even go $20 if it's really hard to find and it's a decent copy, like a near mint or very good plus. But outside of that, I like to just find these albums for on the cheap and build up my collection that way. I did, by the way, go through and I made a list, just so I know, of all my favorite bands and all the albums that I want. Not necessarily all of the albums that the band has, but all the albums that I want. And I noticed a couple of things. And if you want to chime in, if you guys want to, and tell me about this, because I just find it weird. And I don't know if this is something unconscious or it's just the way things are, just because of the way things are. But all of my favorite bands, are right around my age, meaning not the members, and not like when they necessarily formed the band, because a lot of bands formed like the late 60s and stuff, but I was born in 73, and there's so many bands where like their first album, 71, 72, 73, 74, somewhere around there. So they're all relatively like my age, or my age group, as far as how many albums they've been on. And they all kind of, like I said, they all have kind of that the same time period. Like I said, obviously Kiss, I think Kiss's first album was 1973, the year I was born. That Angel band that I'm into now, that's kind of late 70s. Blue Oyster Cult is another good example, 1972, the first Blue Oyster Cult album. I know there were in other groups back in the 60s, like the Soft White Underbelly, but saying Blue Oyster Cult specifically, they're as old as that band's as old as I am. Cheap Trick, a little bit younger, but still 77. I just look at all my favorite. Rush's first album was 1974. It seems like all of my favorite bands, not only are they the same age as me. I know this is a weird thing to think this way. It just dawned on me when I was going through my record collection for the umpteenth thousandth time. I'm like all these bands are like my age. Like the bands themselves, from the first album on to whatever, are like my age. Some of them still around, some of them not. Some of them, retired. Rush retired. And the other thing, as I noticed, is almost all of my favorite bands are bands that opened up for Kiss, for the most part. You got to think about Rush, opened up for Kiss. Blue Oyster Cult, opened up for Kiss. Cheap Trick, opened up for Kiss. Like I said, the only albums, that's 3 albums right there, or 3 bands, my favorite bands who, were all somehow related to Kiss. Like I said, Kiss isn't just their music. There's a lot of other stuff going on there. Sure, I love the Police. I love Asia. I love, what's some of the other bands? Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden doesn't have anything to do with Kiss, but, And again, my Iron Maiden love is a very small part of Iron Maiden. It's pretty much 82 to 88. Journey. I think Journey is right around my age too. It just seems like all this stuff that all these 70s bands, 70s rock bands, they all, were born in the 70s. I was born in the 70s. I think that's why they kind of still resonate with me and they hit home, and they and I have such a feel like kind of like a kindred towards them. So yeah, you're looking at a guy who's as old as Kiss, or as old, as far as the album from the first album. Like I said, I know a lot of these bands are. I mean, which would make most of these guys, if they're in their early 20s, into their 70s, early 70s, because they were 20 to 25 years old, when they were doing all this stuff when I was born. So, it kind of makes sense. Which also means that, as I get older, once I hit 60, I mean, a lot of these guys are going to be dropping. I don't know how long Kiss is going to... I don't really care if they... here's my other thing is, a lot of these bands obviously still doing stuff, whatever. I don't care to see any of these bands live anymore. Cheap Trick doesn't have Bunny Carlos. Blue Oyster Cult's only Buck Dharma and Eric Bloom. Kiss is only Gene and Paul, and they look terrible on stage. Who else? Police will never play again. I saw them for the last time. Iron Maiden's still going, but I don't know. I don't really care to see them again. Rush is retired, so you're never going to see them again. And like I said, I didn't really like New Rush, so like I said, it sounds stupid, and you probably give me shit for this, but the thing is, I like what I like, and it's from a very small time, certain time pockets, and there's only certain albums of specific bands that I like, so I don't like their entire catalogs, and I only like certain parts, and that's it. And I don't care to get the new stuff. I don't care to see them new or see them in their old. I like to see people in their prime. I don't want to see a bunch of old people up there. That's why a lot of these bands have all these comebacks and stuff. Even Guns N' Roses. I don't want to see these guys now. I want to see these guys in their prime. So obviously the only way to do that's watching videos. Until they make holograms and stuff. To bring Neil Peart back to life. That type of thing, like they did Michael Jackson. I don't really care to see any of that stuff live anymore, and I'm old too. I don't really care to go see concerts much anymore. They're expensive. It's a pain in the ass. Sure, my son. I'd like my son to see some stuff. We'd still like to see Ghost if they come back around. Yeah. I don't know if it makes sense, but anyways, so yeah, I just kind of put this list together. So now I know what I'm looking for, and there's about 140 albums on here. I have 60 of them, so I've still got some stuff to find. Do I want every one of these Hawkwind albums? Maybe not. Even Tangerine Dream, as much as I love them, still have to do a video on them, which nobody will watch. Do I want every single one of those? All the soundtracks? Maybe not. Yes, another example. Bandits, a little bit older than me. But I think the Yes album, I don't really, even though the first two albums came out, in like 70, 69, I still consider the Yes album it's the first album of that kind of music they did. That's, 71, so that's, they're about as old as I am. I don't care to see them anymore. What was I going to say? Yeah, so here's the other thing. I was just thinking about that, like the Tangerine Dream videos and stuff like that. I'm just surprised. So if Kiss is why everybody's coming to these, which is fine, but at the end of the day, I mean, how many videos can I make? If people are only going to come to see the Kiss videos, and anytime I do anything it's not Kiss video, I get like 20 views, right? I'm going to continue to make stuff like that, and continue to do stuff that I want to do, but, I can't make all Kiss videos. Like I said, I like them in such a minute time period that I can't talk about the 80s stuff, like the Unmasked stuff. I can't talk about like their newer, or the reunion they got back together. I don't have any experience with any of that. So there's no reason for me to talk about it. I'm going to talk about things specifically from that time period. I'll probably do one on the Kiss comic book. I've got a digital copy of it. I don't have the physical copy of it. I never had the physical copy of it, but this is something I'm going to read it and give my opinion on it. I think I read it once a long time ago. I think I did have it once a while ago, like in the late 80s, early 90s. I found it at a kind of like Time Travelers for like $5. But yeah, I can only make so many Kiss videos, so obviously I'm making 5 videos, putting out 5 videos a week. Yeah, I'm gonna run out of Kiss material quick. But I thank everybody for chiming in about that Spectre bass. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I did look that up and I did see that. But thanks everybody for chiming in and telling me about that stuff. That's like I said, I encourage that stuff. If I get my facts wrong or if I'm wrong on something, let me know, because I'm not perfect. Can't remember I got so much shit in my head that I can't possibly remember every single detail from every single thing that I'm in. Like I said, I've got a really good memory, and I'm pretty hyper focused on that stuff. But there are holes all over the place because you only have so much bandwidth, or so much RAM in my head. So, thanks for chiming in. Let me know about that. And again, help me grow this channel. If you are here just for the Kiss videos, watch the other ones. You don't have to watch them all. Just watch some of them. Boost the number. Help me. I realize what I'm fighting here is the algorithm. That or just my stuff is just shit. Nobody wants to watch it. Nobody cares to see me. They'd rather just, I don't really have a great voice either. So, I put myself in the videos. I'm not the best looking guy. I'm not super charismatic. I kind of come off like an asshole a lot sometimes, which might either people like or it turns people off. I am a nice guy, trust me. But sometimes I get in my moods, and I start talking, like a jerk. But not to any, I'm not going to attack anybody specifically. But like I said, there's just a lot of things that piss me off. So I like to air those out sometimes. But yeah, help me out, help me, fight this algorithm, because I think the algorithm's really what's kind of dragging me down, because obviously the Kiss thing cranks up, and then, and then I do, like Rush, I figured, wow, Rush has got to be as big as Kiss. Well, probably not. You'd think they are. But no, nobody wants to watch the Rush video. It's just like, it's not like anything great about the first Kiss video. I just kind of did it as a, something to do, and people liked it, because everybody loves Kiss, and it somehow got into the algorithm and started kicking out into all people's recommendeds. And obviously it didn't happen like that with the other videos. So like I said, if anything you guys can do, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification button, tell your friends, go to your buddy, say, hey, watch this guy's video, or just click it on. You don't have to watch it. Just help me kind of fight this algorithm. Like I said, as soon as I get monetized, I say this all the time, and I'm sorry to keep repeating it, but I do not have the money nor the time to really put into these outside of maybe an hour a day to put into these. If they start to become lucrative and I start making money at them, right, then I can do my other stuff less and do these more, and then I can also invest in like a new camera, new sound, maybe some obviously better lighting. Than I didn't even turn it on, my floor light up there. I can do a better job if obviously if there's an incentive to do so. Right now I'm just doing it out of my pure love of doing it, and I just love to ramble and love to talk, and like I said, I like to have these conversations with people, and I like to talk about stuff. But I'll up my game when the money starts coming in. The bottom line. So on that note, I think I'll let you guys go. It's only been almost 50 minutes. So this will be a shorter video. Like I said, there's only so much you can say about Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park. It is what it is. As you can see, look at Paul right there. For some reason I want to say he's just about to say romances when he's making this look. He's such a weirdo. I love the guy, but he's a weirdo. And they're all kind of weird. I guess you got to be kind of weird to do that stuff, anyways. But anyways, I'm not the most normal person myself, so again, it is what it is. I gotta look up. I gotta see if I can find some more on that magazine with those pictures and posters and stuff. But and I think there were other. I saw somebody had a video and they're doing poster magazines. I should watch their videos and see what they're finding. But I guess I'll do my closing speak here, which I kind of did my closing speak. There's not much more to say at this point. I said what's coming up, Kiss related. I'm going to do Destroyer when it gets here. I'll probably read the comic, the Kiss comic, the Marvel comic, and do a video on that. Again, if I can find more on these poster magazines and stuff, I'd like to do more on that. You know, I thought even about doing a Kiss face painting thing. Now that it's Halloween, I'm sure Spirit Halloween or something might have or on Amazon might have a Kiss makeup kit. Obviously not the original, but a newer version of it. I'll check into that. Like I said, there's not much room to paint on this face with this woolly mammoth here, so what else? Yeah, I've got some other non-Kiss related stuff coming up here as well. So, like I said, if you're here for the Kiss videos, you know, I still encourage you to watch my other videos and check the stuff out, just to help those numbers go up. Like I said, I'm approaching this band. Like I said, I talk about comic books. I gotta say, I think I'm done with the action figures. I did have 2 pre-orders left that were still up and coming, and I was just like, you know what? I'm out. So I canceled the pre-orders. I have nothing left on the list to buy for toys coming out, unless there's something I really gotta get. I'd like to get those Kiss dolls up, anyways. But yeah, I think I'm done with the action figure stuff. So if guys are here for the action figure stuff, sorry about that. I think I'm out of it. I'm done. It's just too expensive. It's too many. It really started to really get on my nerves, like really aggravate me. Just the decisions that the company's made. The prices, I think, is the #1 killer. Is just how much they want for stuff. And yeah, I'm tapping out. Comic books, like I said, I still hear periodically here, you know, looking for old stuff. We tried to find new stuff that I like. I'll probably dig into some more old stuff again coming up here, and do that stuff, because like I said, I can get the older stuff cheaper. You know, I can go on thrift books and find graphic novels for $10, less than $10 for a graphic novel, and it's cheaper than getting new comics. And you know, I could do that. I mean, yeah, sure, I've got digital files of everything, but I just use that for my reference, you know, for you guys to see on the screen. But I like to have the thing in. If I'm talking about a specific comic, I know I'm not going to do that with the Kiss one, but for the most part, if I can get a copy of it in my hand, I like to do it that way. So there's probably going to be more comic stuff coming up, and more of the other band stuff. Like I said, I still haven't made a Yes video, still haven't made a Tangerine Dream video, a Hawkwind video. I haven't even really made a proper Blue Oyster Cult video, or who else, or even an Iron Maiden. You know, I could talk forever on this stuff, but you know, we'll make videos as I think of them, or you know, if I get inspired to do so. All right, sorry, I'll keep babbling on here. Let me let you go. Short video. Catch me back tomorrow. Don't know what's coming up. I gotta go check the mailbox and see if that book came. But outside of that, just to let you know, sorry, I keep forgetting one more thing. As you notice, the guitar stand's empty right out back there. I took the Kataxin to the guy at Electric Kitsch. They got the record store. He also is a luthier, so he does setups. And it was, I gave it a little, I tweaked a few things, but again, I don't really know what I'm doing, and I don't have the proper tools. I mean, outside, obviously you don't need a lot of tools, but like the measuring tools and stuff like that. And I don't really know, I'm just guessing on stuff. He does this stuff professionally, so I took it over, and he's got it right now. He's probably calling me today, and I'll have to go get it. But the burning fire's over there getting set up. I don't think he's switching the strings. The strings are brand new. But he's going to set it up. So when I get it back, it should sound like $1 million. And then eventually, judging how much he charges me, which is like $30-ish, I'll probably end up taking the Spectre and see if he can breathe life back into that thing. That thing may be too far gone. I don't know. yeah, so that's where that's at. So uh, other than that, yeah, I think that's everything. So I'll probably do a video when it comes back, and maybe on that one again. Um, or I'll just mention it in another video, something that's kind of related. But yeah, other than that, I'm just gonna keep saying other than that. All right, talk to you guys later. All right, bye bye.